So let us take out our mask for the time being for the discussion that we have going to discuss with you all. So today we are pleased to discuss with you about our business performance as well as the market condition and the investment prospect that the company are doing at the moment. Before we are going into the detail, let me introduce the executive team of our company who are sitting here and having a discussion with you all. On my right, the first right, Mr. Withun, our Managing Director. And on my second right, Mr. Suwat, our Deputy Managing Director. And on my third right, Mr. Ekapong, the Vice President of the Feedstock Sourcing and the Production Planning. And for myself, Malapa, the CFO of the company. So for today, we will discuss with you in the 4 major areas of the discussion. First of all, we will let Kun Withun to give you the highlight of the business operation as well as the market condition of the past performance of the first quarter of this year. The second session would be Kun Ekapong, who will discuss with you about the market situation as well as the feedstock condition, because our business is focusing on the palm oil business. And on the third one would be myself for the financial performance, and the last one would be Kun Suwat for the investment prospect of the GGC going forward. So I would hand the session to Kun Withun to give you the highlights of the first quarter of this year.
Thank you. Thank you, Kunal. Good afternoon, and thank you very much for your interest in GGC. Let me start the session with the overall highlights for the first quarter. The first quarter performance is a good one for us. Let me begin with methyl ester on the left side, or ME. The sales volume of methyl ester increased 7% year on year. This was due to the new biodiesel blending rate from B7 to B10. Starting this year, B10 is now the new mandatory grade of biodiesel in Thailand, which was intended in order to help reduce the high stock of crude palm oil in the country. In addition to that, to promote B10 and B20, the retail prices of B10 and B20 are lower than B7. This subsidy was supported by the oil field fund from the government. Another key effect is the low production of crude palm oil due to the drought in the planting areas. The country inventory of CPO was quite low at the end of first quarter, about 170,000 tons, which was the lowest level we have seen in the past few years. Since the demand and the supply of CPO was more balanced, the prices of CPO were up sharply in December and continue in that high level in January. Therefore, the competition among biodiesel producers is less severe. The product discount was lower compared with last year. It seemed everything was good until then similar to everyone, that we got affected by the coronavirus in March. All the no traveling, the curfew, work from home, no tourists, and all other things that caused the low consumption of biodiesel. As mentioned, the demand of B100 was strong due to the domestic demand in Thailand, but the demand of our natural fatty alcohol was quite weak, since about 60% of our sales volume were for export. Fatty alcohol sales volume dropped around 16% year on year due to the outbreak of coronavirus. And our overseas customers, such as China and India, they see their orders due to their country's lockdown policy and the port closure. That's why we could not export our natural fatty alcohol out to them. Not only the demand, the supply side was also significantly affected by the virus as well. A few fatty alcohol plants in Indonesia and Malaysia were affected from their country's lockup policy. This causing the plant shut down and resulting in a very tight supply. In terms of our plant operation, the utilization of our 2-methyl ester plant was around 82%, while the fatty alcohol plant was about 100%. And to sum up, the company net profit for the first quarter is around 239 million baht, increasing significantly from the previous quarters. As mentioned in the key contribution was from methyl ester. The next slide is about the CPO overall situation. Throughout last year, the issue of high stock of crude palm oil was a major concern, resulting in strong price competition among B100 producers. Last year, the average CPO price was around 18.3 baht per kilogram. It's only in December that the supply was quite tight and the country's CPO inventory was low. This resulted in the jump of CPO prices in December and maintained around that high in the first quarter. The average CPO price of the past quarter was quite high at almost 34 baht per kilogram. And due to the upward CPO price, methyl ester price in the first quarter of last year was also increased, which was according to the price of the feedstock. And the average FO P2F, which is the difference between the selling price, the benchmark FO price and the mixed feedstock price, was at 4.49 baht per kilogram. Some small decrease due to the methanol price decline, which is one of the factors in the methanol FO price formula. Currently, our total nameplate capacity of methyl ester is 500,000 tons per year, and our utilization of our 2-methyl ester plants was 82%. The sales volume from the first quarter of this year was 7% up from the first quarter of last year, but slightly lower than the fourth quarter due to the overstock of products from our customer in December, since they have to prepare for the B10 launch and the effect of COVID-19 in March of this year. The adjusted EBITDA of methyl ester is 339 million baht, which increased significantly from the previous quarter. And next is about the feed of fatty alcohol and price situation. The average price of crude palm kernel oil, which is the feedstock for fatty alcohol, based on MPOB, in the first quarter was about $800 per ton, a significant increase from last year, which was about $633 per ton. This is because in the international CPKO market, the inventory was quite low due to the severe dry season. And the price of fatty alcohol product was also increased, but in a lower magnitude. This was due to the sluggish demand of fatty alcohol and due to the virus outbreak in many regions. Therefore, it pressured the low margin of the low P2F. The market P2F of natural fatty alcohol in the first quarter was down to $329 per ton, a significant drop from last year, which was seen at $507 per ton. And in the middle of the page, the first graph shows the crude oil price, which was the lowest price compared with the prices of previous quarters. The low crude price caused the low price of ethylene, which is the feed to produce synthetic fatty alcohol. And note that the synthetic fatty alcohol can be considered as some replacement product of natural fatty alcohol for some applications. And as shown in the graph, in the blue line, the natural fatty alcohol was still in the good position and was able to compete with the synthetic fatty alcohol. And move to the operational performance on the right side of the slide. Our plant utilization was 102%. And to sum up, due to both low sales volume and low margin, the adjusted EBITDA of fatty alcohol in the first quarter was negative 86 million baht. And the next part is the market situation, which will introduce to you all by Mr. Ekapong.
Thank you, ครับคุณวิทูล Today maybe a bit late talking about the crude palm oil situation in Q1, as now we are coming to Q2 already. Then I will wrap up together for both Q1 and Q2 situation for your reference. We start this year with the bullish price for CPO, crude palm oil. Price went up to touch 40 baht in January due to two major effects. One, we expect a huge demand from energy sectors since Ministry of Energy announced the new B10 as a mandatory diesel for Thailand domestic market. And second, we expected the production of palm oil will be decreased significantly due to the draft of a weather that carrying from last year. But anyway, unfortunately, the bullish factor only happened one thing. The production of CPO dropped hardly from 790k tons in Q1 19 to only 480k tons in Q1 20. It is almost 40% drop. However, the demand didn't come as we expected. Consumer and the oil marketers still prefer to use and sell B7 rather than B10s. As you can see from the market share today, the demand for diesel oil is around 65 million liters per day. But in this number, the share of B10 is only 15 million liters per day. It means only 23% only. Moreover, the demand for the CPO also been hit by COVID-19 epidemic. The lockdown policy, the transportation activity also, and also hit harder to the demand of the cooking oil from the household. You can see that the demand for CPO dropped from 680k tons from Q4 last year to 610k tons this quarters. That is why the CPO price fell from 40 baht to the current price at around 20 baht at least. In terms of margin on the right hand, the spread of the methyl ester ranking around mid-4 is not much change from Q4 last year. The fatty alcohol spread quite low in Q1, average only around 329 because of the weak demand from COVID effect, but slightly improved in Q2 at around mid-400. Next slide, please. For the methyl ester situation, we think that the price tends to be higher in Q3 as the harvest season already passed, and also government policy to absorb the stock CPO by the Electricity Generating Authority of Thailand. Last Monday, EGAT, they just officially issued the tender for 37.5k tons CPO for direct burning at the Bang Bakong plant. The budget price is around 23.25. It's just slightly higher than the price in the market today. Further than that, if the palm food price is not improving, government keen and ready to ask EGAT to take more CPO for burning. At current, we expect the stock of CPO in May will be at around 350k tons, and the trend still keep building up to around 400k tons again in June. Anyway, this number is still around 10% less than last year's stock. The demand for methyl ester shall be improved also due to the relieving lockdown policy. Also, the government policy will be more supportive and to enhance the usage of B10. For the fatty alcohol, CPKO stands for crude palm kernel oil. it still keep fluctuating. The price for the good part of this feedstock is the price in domestic compared to the international markets is quite low. Not much low, but slightly lower. That make us the competitive for the feedstock price. The fatty alcohol demand also healthier as many buyer countries relieve their lockdown. HPC and cleaning products will be the new norm for the lifestyle that will be good for the demand for fatty alcohol also. That's all for me today.
So the next one would be the part of the financial performance on the first quarter of this year. So first of all is on the top left of the slide, which is about the sales revenue of the company. In the first quarter of this year, we are reporting the total revenue of about 5,230 million baht, which is about a significant increase from the first quarter of last year and also the fourth quarter of last year as well. I think this is because the two major factors. The first one is, as what Khun Vitun mentioned earlier, it is because of the higher sale volume of the biodiesel that we have had in the first quarter. And the second one would be the impact from the good side of the high CPO price, because the biodiesel pricing in Thailand is in a mechanism of the cost plus. So when the feedstock price is higher, so the product price would be higher as well. And the second left on the bottom left of this slide, which is about the net profit of the company. In the first quarter, we are reporting the accounting net profit of 239 million baht, which is about 4.6% net profit margin. So let's say it is increasing considerably compared to the first quarter of last year. And because our business is in the palm oil business, which also have the impact from the market price, like the refinery business, so we also have the same behavior of the stock gain and loss. So in the first quarter of this year, we have the good side or the stock gain impact from the increasing of the palm oil price. So in actually the EBITDA that we are reporting of about 345 million baht. So if we adjust that for the stock loss and the stock gain, we will find out that the biodiesel is actually impacting by the stock loss quite a little bit. So the adjusted EBITDA would be higher than the accounting EBITDA, as you will see the number 301 increasing to be 339. And for the on the fatty alcohols, we have actually the stock gain. So the EBITDA of the 44 million baht, if we accounted for the stock gain, so we take out that part, so the adjusted EBITDA would be only negative or minus 86 million baht. So that is for the first part of the business performance. And the second one would be our financial position. So on the top left, it is about the balance sheet of the company. So we see that by the end of the first quarter, our balance sheet size is about 13,150 million baht. Sorry, 13,150 million baht. So increasing about 2 to 3% compared to the end of last year. And actually, we have the announcing of the annual interim of about 0.2 baht per shares, in total of 0.35 baht per share. So we have the remaining payment of 0.2. So in that case, our shareholder equity would be partly deducting into the dividend to pay, which is on the other liabilities. So in that case, the shareholder equity increasing only about 34 million baht, because we remove that part into the interim to pay. And if you look at the key financial ratio of the company, which is on the right hand side, you will see that our debt to equity or debt to EBITDA is still in a low position. So that would mean we still have the debt capacity to maintain our investment portfolio. And on the right hand side, sorry, on the bottom right, you see the cash flow position of the company. So on top of the low debt to equity or low debt to EBITDA, you will see that we also have excess cash on hand. I think which is for the time being under the crisis, the cash is king. So we try to maintain our cash on hand to be quite positive and quite excess. Actually, by the end of the first quarter, we have about let's say 2,700 million baht cash on hand, but in the graph you will see only about 2,000 because we treat another 700 million baht as the short-term investment. So that would be all of the financial part. I would not go into the details of the next two slides because I think it is quite easy to digest unless you have the questions. So I would hand the stage to Kun Suwat for the part of the investment portfolio that we are doing now.
Okay, thank you so much, Kun Volapha. Okay, at the moment we have two projects under construction. The first project is Refined Glycerin Plant number 2. This project was located at the Chonburi province. This Chonburi province at Nong Yai, we already have the methyl ester plant number 2, but we don't have the refined glycerin plant yet. This will be the extension of this project in order to convert the crude glycerin from the methyl ester plant into refined glycerin, which will be a value added for the crude glycerin. As you know, in the first part, that the refined glycerin are now really high demand due to the fact that the hygiene product, which is the main ingredient, which also utilize this refined glycerin, will be in the high demand due to the fact that the COVID-19 pandemic spread all the hygiene awareness to all the people. The investment of this project is around 336 million baht, and at the moment we are under the construction. We did not have much effect from the COVID-19 pandemic since the most of the major equipment was already at the factory, so we still can continue our project activities. So that we do hope that we could finish the construction and start our operation by the fourth quarter of this year, which will in time of the need of refined glycerin in the high demand. The second project is the Nakhon Sawan Biocomplex phase number 1, which is the very first project for the company to have a footprint in the sugar business, related to the sugar business. This project will be the project that convert the sugarcane into the biofuel, which is ethanol. The capacity of the plant is around 600 liters per day, and in overall production per year will be around 186 milliliters. So this project will be completed. The original plan will be by the first quarter of next year, but due to the fact that most of the major equipment will be imported from China, India, and Spain, which is hit by the COVID-19 pandemic. So we still can keep the construction to complete the mechanical completion by the third quarter of next year. But unfortunately, that by the time we finish the construction, the season of the sugar cane crushing will be over. So we decide that we may have to move the start of this plant until the next crushing season, which is at the fourth quarter of the next year. The total capital investment for this project is around 7,500 baht. This is our company hold 50% share, and the another 50% share is a major leading company in the sugarcane industry. At the moment, we still can keep the construction in terms of the civil work, but as I mentioned, the machine will be delayed. So at the time of the construction phase, we will be delayed by the installation of the equipment. That will be all from me now. Turn back to Kun Volapha.
ขอบคุณค่ะ so thank you every person here to give you the details of the performance and the investment portfolio that their company have at the moment. So we go through the questions that we have got from yours in the order of the list. The first question is about the concern on the economic slowdown. So the question is, in the case that the oil consumption would be dropped from the impact of the COVID situation and because of the uncertainty that we don't know how long it will drag for. So what the company think about when it will return to the normal and how the company will handle that one?
Wow, okay, it's quite a tough one. Let me explain this. For methyl ester, it's only sold in domestic market. So we believe in Thailand, our situation is much better than other countries. So our B100 or our methyl ester would be back quite soon if the lockdown and all the curfew policy, which will be back to normal by next week already. So we believe it will be a strong comeback from the methyl ester part. In terms of fatty alcohol and another product which is refined glycerin, which was a byproduct when we produce methyl ester. Well, we see some opportunity in this because of after the virus, the epidemic, the behavior of the health conscious and try to clean whatever which is advantage to us. So if the markets, if the country's situation was coming back, then there's a chance for us to export more fatty alcohol and even sell refined glycerin because they are used in as raw material for all those cleaning substance.
All right, thank you. So the next question would be what the company projected for this volume of the fatty alcohol for this year.
Okay, as everybody know that we are sitting in the situation that very tough. We are in the hard time effect from the demand from the global because of the epidemic of the COVID-19. But anyway, our company still maintain our business momentum from this year compared to last year. We think that we still can maintain our sales for the fatty alcohol as last year, which may be close to 100,000 tons.
Okay. And the next one would be the questions from the investor who are having the concern on the COVID-19 to our employees. So the question is how the company make the safeguard to our employees against the COVID-19 situation.
All right. We have done as much as we can to ensure the health of our staff and the plant can be run safely and to meet the customer demand. We work from home as much as we can, even down to 90% of our staff work from home. We have the daily health check report. We even do twice per day for the health check, and all the employees have to report in our own software. So the management can be traced if the staff has some problem. And also we also give masks, alcohol gel, and so on to all the employees and put all of those necessary things in the plant and in the office so they can use it freely. We also introduced the lockup program for our operators. They are working in the sensitive area in the control room. So they have to follow all the policy with us. Then we ensure they will not be contaminated from anything outside. Thank you.
But for the time being, they are not locking up anywhere anymore, right?
Yeah.
So the next one would be the question about the JV or the joint venture, that whether the company have any joint venture project for our investment portfolio.
All right. Beside those two projects that I has mentioned, the company always looking forward to look for new opportunity in terms of to investment. And if you look at our portfolio, we are in a very good position that because we have our palm-based bioindustry, which we convert into the methyl ester and the other value-added product. And from next year on, we will have another footprint in the sugar-based, which can convert to bioindustry again, so that we have a very good footprint in both sectors, which are considered a very big sector in Thailand. And Thailand, as all you know, that we are agricultural country. We have a lot of the competitiveness in terms of the feedstock from the sugar and from palm oil. So from those two base, we can look for the either joint venture or our own technology in order to build a project that can add value to the sugar-based or the oleochemical-based product. As of now, we are studying two projects in the pipeline, which one is the backward integration and another one is forward integration. We're gonna give you more information once we have the formal approval on this project.
Thank you, ขอบคุณค่ะ. And the next question is about the dividend policy of the company. So we have to say that our dividend policy is the minimum of 30% after deducting the legal reserve or any investment that we have to hold on the pipeline. And the question is also about whether it is possible to increase the payout ratio of the dividends we had paid in the past for the future prospect. We have to say that since we were listed in the stock market, our payout ratio is in a magnitude of 50 or 60% to 70%. So we consider that it is quite a high payout ratio already, and we try to maintain our payout ratio to be competitive compared to the PTT Group product. PTT Group, because we are under the PTT Group company, so we take the same policy of the payout ratio competitiveness. And we will take your suggestion into consideration for the future, but we have to bear in mind that we also have quite a lot of projects that we are looking for the investment. So in that case, we will have to consider that one quite carefully. And the next question would be about the case of the OPEX and CAPEX plans. We have to say that in business as usual or the normal operation, our maintenance CAPEX is in magnitude of 80 million to 100 million baht per year. So that is the normal maintenance CAPEX. But for the for the future CAPEX, which is for the growth projects or the merger and acquisition projects, we have, let's say, two categories. Two plans. The first plan is only on the organic growth that we have built it up, operate by our own. So those one, as what Khun Suwat mentioned, we already have those two on hand, which is about, let's say, 8,000 million baht CAPEX that we have to spend. And the part of the merger and acquisition, I think we also have some of the target company on our list, but it is, let's say, being study and considerably carefully for the time being, because the price maybe look good, but the uncertainty of the future prospect is also another factors that we have to consider as well. So I would skip to the next question about
palm oil.
Yeah, about the palm oil questions. The question is palm oil price view for the rest of this year and about the demand.
Yes, I think in our company views, the price for palm oil this year should be improving compared to this quarter because as you may know that we just already passed the harvest season, but the price still can keep maintained at above 20 baht. And also if you look at into the government policy, not only the lockdown relief policy, but the government also have carefully take action with the CPO price CPO stock in the countries. You see the government is trying to encourage the people to use the B10. Government try to control the stock by using e-gas as to absorb the stock for the CPO surplus. I think that the price of CPO should be improved, maybe not much as in the early this year at 40 baht, but I think it should be significantly better than today.
All right. And the next question is about the investor would like the company to elaborate on the plan how the company balance for the cash flow in the current situation. So we have to admit that the cash flow is the heart of the operation for the time being, and as you can see the cash position that the company have. We have to say that under that cash amount, they are splitting into two portions. The first one is about the cash flow operation that we got from our current business. And the second portion would be the cash that we got from the IPO, because on that time we have the project that we announced that we will invest, and we have to keep the cash or the IPO proceeds specifically for those projects as well. So under the two major projects that Khun Suwat mentioned, one is the biocomplex or the NBC phase 1. That one we will use the IPO process to invest for that. By the other projects, we will use our cash flow operation as well as some of the financing source from the banks. So under the cash flow operation, we will balance between, let's say, the first important thing is the current operation, because it is still in a positive cash flow and positive net profit. And the second one would be the part of the future projects that we will balance it from the funding from the bank. So that all for the part of the cash flow balance that the question would ask about. I think this is the last question that we will have the time to answer. What is your 3 year business plan, especially for the revenue growth, and what is the longer term sales volume and the activity to support the one?
All right. If you ask about the next 3-year business plan and the revenue growth, we have a strong plan in terms of the growth project. As Khun Suwat mentioned on the biocomplex, we have phase 1, which will be coming next year, and we also have phase 2. So in 2024, in the next 4 years, we will double our revenue from the two projects, especially from the biocomplex phase 2, which will focus on bioplastic and biochemicals.
So that would be all of the questions that we have got and under the current time constraint. So in case you have any further questions, we encourage you all to contact to our IR team, and the calling numbers as well as the email address was addressed under the presentation. And these are all of our presentation and the information for today. So we thank all of you who are giving your time to attend our session. Thank you very much and see you next time. ขอบคุณค่ะ
Thank you very much and stay healthy and safe.